Today we're doing day 7 notes, and the first thing we're going to look at is how to find the area of a sector, which just means a piece of the pie. Instead of knowing or figuring out what the whole area of this circle is, pi r squared is my formula if you remember, the area of a circle, pi times radius squared. I just want this portion. I would just want to know what the area of this sector, it's called, piece of the pie, how much that is. So this is the proportion that I'm going to use. I only want 1/50. That's the measurement of the angle of my sector over the total. So I'm going to write part over the whole equals, I want to know how much that part is in area over the area of the whole circle. Remember, pi times radius squared. So my radius is 13, and when I square 13, I get 169 pi. 13 times 13 times pi. Now, when I look at this fraction over here, I can make it easy on myself, divide both numbers by 10, and 15 and 36 are both divisible by 3, so this would become a 5, and this would become a 12. So when I cross multiply, I have 12 times x equals 5 times 169, so that's going to be, let's see, 5 times 9 is 45, so we get 34, 445 pi. So in order to get x by itself, I will divide both sides by 12, and x, the area of my sector, let's see, that's going to be 3, and then I have 85. Sure wish I brought my calculator. Let's see, 12 goes into 44 3 times, bring down the 8, then a 5. So this would go in here 8 times, let's see, 7 times. 7 point something. So 37 something pi. Okay, go ahead and do that on your calculator, 445 divided by 12. Now over here on the second example, our piece of the pie, or our sector, has a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to write 45 over the total 360. Part over whole equals the part I want over the whole circle. And the circle has a radius of 15, so when I take 15 and square it, I get 225 times pi. Now to simplify this fraction, 45 goes into 360, let's see, 8 times? Let's see, 90 goes into 360 4 times, so 45, half of 90, goes in 8 times. So this becomes a 1, and this becomes an 8 when I simplify this fraction. So when I cross multiply, I have 8 times x equals 1 times 225 pi. Dividing both sides by 8, I can get x by itself, which is 225 pi over 8. And you can simplify that further by going ahead and dividing 225 by 8. Okay, here's 2 more examples. A little more practice. Here's our piece of the pie. We're trying to find out how much area is in this sector or section. Well, it has a 60-degree angle over our total 360. The part is the section, and the whole circle would be 49 pi, 7 times 7 times 40 times pi. So 60 over 360, 6 over 36, is 1 over 6 when I simplify that fraction. Cross multiplying, I get 6x equals 49 pi, and divide both sides by 6, and you'll find x equals 49 pi over 6. And if you want to estimate that, you can take the 49 and divide by 6. Just leave the pi in your answer. Okay, for D, our angle has 120 degrees over our total 360. And let's see, we want the part or the section area over the whole circle, which would be 7 times 7 times pi, or 49 pi. Now 120 over 36 is the same as 1 over 3. So we cross multiply and get 3x equals 49 pi. Dividing by 3, x equals 49 pi over 3. And again, you can divide it if you want, 49 divided by 3, because it doesn't go in there evenly. Okay, so this is how we find out how to get the area of a piece of the circle. And the piece of the circle is called a sector. The second half of our notes is how do we find the length of the arc? Okay, I'll pick a different color here. How long is this line right here? So if we straightened it out, how long would it be from here to here? That's what we're trying to find out. So we want to compare that to the total, which is known as the circumference of the circle. So again, it's pretty much the same thing we did in the first half of notes. We take the part of the sector, 30 over our total, 360, and that will equal the arc length over the circumference. And remember, circumference equals pi times diameter, or you could say 2 pi r. Same thing. So here's the radius. We need to double it. So that's going to be 26 pi. Now 30 over 360 can be simplified to 1 over 12. Cross multiply, and we have 12x equals 26 pi. Dividing by 12, x equals, and 26 over 12 is the same as 13 over 6 when I reduce these two numbers by dividing by 2. Now over here on example 2, on B, our angle is very big, more than a semicircle here. 225 is what they're showing us, and we're trying to find the length of this big arc. So we do the part of the angle measure over the total, and that equals, we don't know what this arc length is, but we're going to compare it to the whole circle, the circumference, which would be 22 pi. Since our radius is 11, we want to double that to get the diameter. Okay, let's see here, 225 over 360. I feel like I'm running out of room here. If we divide by 5, let's see, we'll have 45 here, and below we're going to have 72. Well, I can divide again. Let's see, I can divide by 3, and I'll have 15 over 24. Oh, which can be divided by 3 again, so I'm going to have 5 over 8. Oh, really simple now. I can do this in my head. 8 times x, when I cross multiply, equals 5 times 22, which is 110 pi. Dividing by 8, I'll have my answer, x equals, let's see, these are even numbers, so I'll divide them both by 2, 55 pi over 4. And I can leave it like that. Okay, let's try another one for arc length. Here's our arc. We're wondering how long it is. I'm going to use this 60-degree angle over my total, 360, and that will equal the arc length over the circumference. Now my radius is 16, so my circumference is 32 pi. First, let's simplify this fraction over here. Divide by 10, divide by 6, and I get 1 over 6. So 6 times x equals 1 times 32 pi. Dividing by 6, x equals 32 pi over 6. Well, they're both even numbers, so I know I can simplify by dividing by 2. So I'll get 16 pi over 3. Leaving that alone. That would be yards, the length, because the radius is in yards. Okay, in our last example, our angle is 45. So we're going to set up our proportion. Part over whole is 45 over 360. That equals our arc length over our circumference. Radius is 10. So we want to use the diameter, which is 20 times pi. So part over circumference. Let's simplify this. Let's see. 5 goes into 45 9 times. 5 goes into 360 72 times. Oh, 9 goes into 72, so I can put 1 over 8. Real easy to cross multiply here once I get those numbers simplified. 8 times x equals 1 times 20 pi. Divide both sides by 8. And now I've got x equals 20 over 8. Let's divide by 2, and then, well, let's divide by 4. And we'll get 5 pi over 2 for our answer. And that is in miles. And remember, it's arc length, linear measurement, so it's just miles, not miles squared. Okay, time to turn to worksheet number 7 in your packet of homework, because we're going to do 2 full pages, sector area and arc length, and basically you set up the same proportion. Part over whole, or angle measure over 360, equals part over either the area or circumference, depending on what you're looking for.